Welcome to Echoes of History. Today we're journeying to one of the world's most complex and volatile frontiers, the border between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Spanning over 2,600 kilometers, this rugged line is more than just a division on a map. It's a flashpoint of history, politics, and conflict. Join us as we explore the deep roots of the tension, the recent escalations, and what the future might hold for these two nations and the wider region. To understand today's headlines, we must first travel back in time. The story begins in 1893 with the Durand Line. Drawn by British diplomat Mortimer Durand, it was intended to delineate the spheres of influence between British India and Afghanistan. But from its very inception, the line was controversial. Afghanistan has never formally recognized it as a permanent international border, viewing it as a colonial imposition that divided Pashtun tribes living on both sides. When Pakistan gained independence in 1947, it inherited this disputed frontier. Since then, relations have been a roller coaster of cooperation and confrontation. Over the decades, the porous and mountainous terrain has become a haven for various militant groups. The rugged geography, combined with complex tribal allegiances, has made it incredibly difficult for either government to establish full control, allowing fighters to cross back and forth with relative ease. This long-standing issue has been a persistent source of mistrust and a key driver of instability. Fast forward to the present day, and the situation remains incredibly tense. Recently, in October 2023, both nations agreed to a fragile ceasefire, a welcome pause after some of the most severe border clashes in years. But what led to this recent flare-up? The core of the issue revolves around the militant group known as the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, or TTP. Pakistan has long accused Afghanistan of providing sanctuary to the TTP, alleging that the group uses Afghan soil as a base to plan and launch devastating attacks inside Pakistan. These accusations have been backed by significant military and intelligence reports pointing to TTP safe havens across the border. In response to these attacks, Pakistan has conducted cross-border strikes, which it claims target TTP militants. However, these actions have drawn sharp condemnation from the Afghan side. Afghan officials deny harboring the TTP and argue that Pakistan's military operations are a violation of their sovereignty, often resulting in tragic civilian casualties. This cycle of accusation and retaliation has created a dangerous feedback loop, pushing the two neighbors to the brink and making a lasting peace seem more distant than ever. Verifying the truth on the ground is incredibly challenging. The remote, inaccessible nature of the border region, coupled with conflicting official statements from both governments, makes it difficult to get a clear, unbiased picture of the events. The consequences of this ongoing conflict are profound and far-reaching. For Pakistan, the instability in Afghanistan has had a direct and devastating impact. The spillover of militancy has fueled a rise in terrorist attacks, creating a constant state of insecurity. The economic toll has also been staggering. Pakistan's own economic surveys have estimated losses in the hundreds of billions of dollars, a direct result of the decades-long war on terror and the instability emanating from its western border. This has strained public services, hampered development, and placed an enormous burden on the country's economy. For Afghanistan, the situation is equally dire. The country is already grappling with immense internal challenges, from a humanitarian crisis to a struggling economy. The pressure on its border only exacerbates these problems. Clashes with Pakistan risk further isolating Afghanistan on the regional stage, complicating its efforts to gain international recognition and support. Moreover, the constant focus on border security diverts precious resources and attention away from urgent domestic needs. The border crossings themselves, like Torkham and Chaman, are economic lifelines for landlocked Afghanistan. When these crossings are closed due to conflict, which happens frequently, trade grinds to a halt. This immediately impacts the flow of essential goods, causing prices to skyrocket and creating immense hardship for ordinary Afghan citizens who depend on this cross-border commerce for their livelihoods. The ripple effects of this conflict extend far beyond the two countries. The entire region watches with bated breath, as any escalation holds the potential to destabilize an already fragile geopolitical landscape. Regional powers like China and India have significant strategic and economic interests at stake. China's Belt and Road Initiative, for example, relies on regional stability. Tensions between Pakistan and Afghanistan also complicate relations with other key players. Countries like Turkey and Qatar have at times stepped in to mediate, highlighting the international dimension of this conflict. A full-blown crisis could disrupt trade routes, create a new refugee crisis, and potentially draw in other nations, transforming a bilateral dispute into a wider regional conflagration. The stakes couldn't be higher for the peace and prosperity of South and Central Asia. So, what does the future hold? One path forward lies in renewed dialogue and a genuine peace process. The recent ceasefire, however fragile, is a small but necessary step in the right direction. It shows that both sides are capable of de-escalation when the political will exists. However, the fundamental issues remain unresolved. The presence of militant sanctuaries, the historical dispute over the Durand Line, and a deep-seated lack of trust are formidable obstacles that can't be wished away. True progress will require more than temporary truces. It will demand a commitment to sustained cooperation. This could involve joint intelligence sharing to counter militant threats, coordinated border management to regulate movement, and robust trade facilitation to build economic interdependence. Such cooperation could transform the border from a line of conflict into a zone of opportunity. But achieving this will require immense political courage and a willingness to move beyond the grievances of the past. The risks of failure are severe. A breakdown in dialogue could easily lead to further escalation, potentially triggering a larger, more destructive conflict. Given the existing tensions in the region, such a scenario would be catastrophic. The challenge is immense, but so is the opportunity. The path to peace will be long and difficult, requiring support not just from within, but from the international community as well. Ultimately, the future of millions depends on whether these two neighbors can find a way to coexist peacefully. In the end, the conflict between Pakistan and Afghanistan is a complex tapestry woven from threads of history, geography, identity, and modern-day politics. It's not just about border skirmishes. It's about the very future of regional stability. As events continue to unfold, the world will be watching closely. Thank you for joining us on Echoes of History. If you found this deep dive insightful, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think is the biggest obstacle to peace between Pakistan and Afghanistan? Let us know in the comments below.